Hello, learners. This screencast deals with logic models as a tool for your administrative toolkit. I've used logic models with much success in helping programs and those associated with programs know and understand what's intended, what sort of resources would be available, what sorts of activities are possible, and what kind of changes, basically, that planners and participants alike see happening as a result of the program or the intervention. It's a visual. It's a roadmap that is a valuable tool in helping everybody see where you're heading. The Kellogg Foundation, at the bottom of this slide, really does have the reputation of being the first large organization to promote logic models. I see them as requirements in basically every grant solicitation that's out there, and federal and or philanthropical. It helps you design a program, it helps you implement a program, and it helps you really evaluate that program and to meet reporting requirements for the program. Very valuable tool. There's two big components to a logic model, one of which is the planned work here, and the other is the intended results. Underneath that we have resources and inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impact. Talk about the vocabulary there in sort of black and white. Assumptions are what we think are the underlying factors that influence the program's design, the decision to do the program. Very important to name those. Resources can be human resources, they can be community resources, they can be financial resources. It's important to identify those as well. Activities are the things that you're going to do within the program. Outputs are the direct products of the program's activities. That is, the types of things that the program has produced. Outcomes are different from outputs in that they talk about the changes in participants. That is, the students that we're dealing with. How did they change as a result of the program? And finally, the impact. And if you notice here, systematic long-term change, in this case 7 years. So there are larger issues, larger impact that the program would have over time. A couple of other suggestions as you're thinking about logic models is that they should really be developed by all stakeholders. We won't have time to do that this week, but the exercise that we're going to do will help you frame the components in sort of a logical sequence. A logic model developed collaboratively really helps everybody to see where you're going and what the roadmap is. You should know also when you develop a logic model that it doesn't just stay static. It's not something that you put on a shelf. It's a living, breathing encapsulation of activity. So it's not a snapshot. It actually captures the flow of the program, and it should be changed as more is learned about the program and the program's success. This is the logic model worksheet that you will, got ahead of myself, sorry about that. The logic model worksheet that you'll see in your course announcement when I put the screencast up. And again, it simply illustrates the components that we just talked about, the assumptions, the inputs, the activities, the outputs, the outcome, and the impact. You need not fill in every one of these squares, but you can use this as a template. It'll be a separate PowerPoint template that you can simply type your steps in. And I say steps because what this does, assumptions, is tells you then we go to inputs. After inputs, we go to activities. After we go to activities, we go to outputs. So it's if this is the case, then this happens. And if this is the case, then this happens. And if this is the case, then this happens. So we have a sequence that goes from start to end to our total program impact with a lot of intervening steps between. Give you just a quick example here for your thinking this week and highlighting. This is a grant to a First in World competition to increase the low income, female, and rural students' participation in STEM fields. And here you'll see that these are the assumptions that they make, and I think that these are reasonable assumptions based on the types of students served, looking at a little research behind them to be sure that they're not making assumptions that are contradicted out there by the research that's present, national research, regional research, what they think is important, why these particular characteristics would make a difference, the activities that they're proposing, the outputs as a result of those activities, the outcomes, which is again participant-based as opposed to program-based, which are outputs, and then finally the long-term impact. The last slide that I have to show you is sort of a local encapsulation of a breaking through evaluation, which I also helped with, and this was basically for low-income, low-literate adults, and moving from the beginning, which are resources and inputs. Of course, what's not here would be assumptions, but the fairly logical sort of flow of what we expect to happen. That's it. Best wishes with your assignment this week. If you have questions, please email me, call me. I'm here to help.